Hello everyone, welcome to another great adventure over here on RJB Wildlife. On this adventure, we are here at the San Diego Zoo to talk about the newest development here, being the Orangutan Project. So if you're ready for another great adventure, let's go. And today's adventure begins on Front Street on this warm Friday at the end of August. And I mean it when I say warm. It has been a humid day today, talking mid-80s, which I know isn't warm for a lot of you on the East Coast who deal with the tropical Gulf weather, like in Florida, but here it's pretty toasty. And ultimately today, I do want to talk about that orangutan project we spoke of during the State of the San Diego Zoo update. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click the box right here. It was a very fun adventure, and we discovered a lot of really cool things during that. And that story actually begins right over here with the silvered leaf langer building that leads to the orangutans. Now, even though this was something we got super excited about during the State of the San Diego Zoo update, I want to temper some expectations a little bit. We're going to talk about this a bit today, kind of a timeline of what we can possibly expect, and also what the duration of this project is going to be, because it's not going to be the shortest in the world, and that all really has to do with its location within the zoo. We're going to talk about that a lot right now, and just to kind of give you an idea, as well as possibly even scope out some areas where I could possibly get you some construction updates, because that's also not going to be easy where this is located either. And I want to bring us first down to Fern Canyon, which is right next to where the silvered leaf langer habitat is. So basically, as soon as you walk down this set of stairs, which is the first set of stairs in the Fern Canyon, you're going to see the leaf langer habitat right here to your left, which is nice. It's concealed by all this foliage, but going to be very difficult to see from down here, especially since this will more than likely be closed down, which is unfortunate because Fern Canyon is one of the more stunning spots here in the park, and also one of the quietest ones. You just hear some streams running, nice little forest ambiance as it takes you straight to Sun Bear Forest on the other side of the park, or I should say the middle of the park. I mean, it doesn't get much more peaceful than this. Super quiet. But we're going to make our way up to the top again and walk through the orangutan experience to kind of give you an idea of what could possibly happen there. Now, ultimately, we fully expect this building to be demoed sometime soon, and by sometime soon, I mean about a year from now, if not a little bit later than that. That's at least the rumor, and my prevailing thought is that this pathway we can walk on to view the silverleaf langers will no longer be here when this eventually does become an off-habitat area for the orangs. That's at least the prevailing theory. We don't know what this entire project entails, mainly because it's way too early. But we can't anticipate it. It is going to happen. There are already those moves in motion. And with that out of the way, we're now going to head to the actual orangutan habitat itself, or in the viewing area. And ultimately, as it pertains to this, the main reason this project is actually happening is because of what's underneath me right now. And that is the behind-the-scenes bedroom space. So this actually kind of gives you a good idea of what I'm talking about. The sunroofs and stuff here, that's all going to be a part of the behind the scenes. And then everything underneath the path is their bedroom space behind the scenes area. There is an access building for the care specialists behind this. I'm kind of pointing at it. But that's kind of the nature of this viewing area. And it's been this way for 23 years to this point. So understandably so, they would want to change this and maybe do something a little more modern. Now, depending on how large the behind-the-scenes building is going to be, that could also potentially expand the orangutan population here and possibly even bring back the Bornean orangutans that used to live here years ago. Obviously right now we just have the Sumatrans, but a while ago there were Bornean orangutans here, so that is definitely something we could maybe expect to see, but I wouldn't say it's entirely likely. Now, I would still expect Zubru to stay open. They would probably just cut off access to the viewing area and also the langer space over there. So all of this would be closed off, and it remains to be seen if they would actually expand the viewing boundary. Because if they did that from that vantage point, Now, I don't see them doing this because it could cause a little bit of a traffic jam as far as like guest path, and to go along with that, it could also pose as a safety risk. So they're probably going to want to keep the boundary where it kind of is. From what I'm also hearing, more naturalistic elements are going to be added in here. My best guess would be a little over 2 years, mainly because of at least the extent of what I'm hearing the work is going to be. Plus, I don't know if they want to super prolong this, given some of the other rumors I'm hearing about where the orangs could temporarily be housed, especially since you have about, I want to say, a year, maybe a little more, until Aisha is of breeding maturity. And Labu is already starting to kind of get the mature adult male orangutan look. So I don't know if they'd want to prolong that or if they'd want a baby orangutan born in the space that they may potentially be going into. All of that is up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen, but that's just stuff to consider. The timeline I've been hearing is anywhere from that 2-year to 4-year window. All of that is contingent on the elements that they want to add to this experience going forward. But that's about it. Obviously, this habitat caused a lot of excitement with the new project looming. And that's because the silver leaf langurs were moving here. Now, from what I understand with this, there were 2 bachelor males brought into here, and I believe they were already behind the scenes at this facility. So they were not a part of the troop in the Southeast Asian rainforest area, or absolutely apes, for those of you that want to call it that. And they're just kind of new to this space, but it remains to be seen what will happen with the other troop. Now, of course, this video is just kind of talking about this new project. We're not anywhere close to it, so don't really expect to hear any more details until we're getting closer to the time they decide to close that area down and start demolition. But there are so many other things that are going on here at the zoo. In fact, this morning I discovered something that was really cool, and for the 20 of you that were lucky enough to see that post on Instagram, I cannot actually talk about that, even though the thing I discovered was completely public and available to see in the opening 2 hours today. So when the time comes, we'll talk about that. But as of right now, mum's the word. I will just say it was a super exciting thing to see, and it's definitely something we've talked about for several months now. So definitely keep an eye on it when it happens, because it should be happening very soon, but wasn't supposed to be public. So we'll see what happens. But that's okay, because there's a lot of other really cool things going on right now. And I'm pretty sure in the next State of the San Diego Zoo report, we will be hopefully covering that. But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we're not going to be covering that, because I doubt that's going to be something we will see to that point. And before we head down to an area that I'm pretty sure will be affected by the construction, we're going to go into the bus line, or the bus tour line, to see if I can get a pretty good vantage point from here, because I need to start finding these places in order to adequately cover the construction. And that spot might be available within the bus tour line area, hopefully right before this photo op. Kinda, sorta, not really. That's what makes this zoo great, though, all this foliage. But our vantage point would be kind of in this general vicinity. You can kind of see the orangutan habitat in the distance, and then the langur habitat's kind of like right here. So fingers crossed we'll get a good view, but I doubt it. And to kind of give you a better view, orangutans are kind of off over here in this general area, and then you have this is where the langurs are. And in these zoomed in shots, you can kind of see the glass on the langur habitat and the viewing area for the orangs, just slightly. In fact, I went a little too far, because there's a better look at the building and the demos. I doubt that they're going to close the bus during this. However, it will be shorter because a part of the route's going to get cut off. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But this may be the only place we'll really get good construction footage, mainly because this place doesn't have a balloon like the safari park does. So they do have Skyfari, but the Skyfari doesn't see past the Owens Aviary, which is on the other side of the orangutan habitat. So all of this is blocked off from that vantage point. We'll just have to get lucky, so we'll see. maybe potentially Fern Canyon if they keep that open, but that's also unlikely as well. Actually, this map kind of gives you a good idea of what we're talking about. So where I just was right here in the bus loading. So all of this is the potential project we're looking at. Fern Canyon could be open, so we'll see about that, and I'll possibly even showcase some of those viewing points. But the main area I'm going to talk about is this area right here, because that's going to be integral to this construction process. So we're back in Fern Canyon now. We started down here, but we're going to kind of look and see what we can find, and then I'm going to showcase what could potentially be a staging area. This project is actually going to be a pretty challenging one, mainly because of where it's located. We kind of alluded to that earlier, and I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit more now as we hang out in the shade of the Fern Canyon. As a result of the orangutan habitat being on one of the canyon walls of the zoo, it's a very difficult place to access. And that's part of the reason why the orangutan behind the scenes area, I believe in 2003, if not earlier than that, was built underneath the guest path. In fact, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a hammock right here. That's part of the orangutan habitat, and kind of within this clearing on the other side of the forest is what that area is. So this could be a good vantage point. Again, I don't think this is going to be open though. I would say even back here, if you can see some of that, like one of the green ball hanging structures over there. So this area, along with the bus line, could potentially be good spots to view this. Again, that's assuming Fern Canyon's open. If Fern Canyon's not open, the bus tour is probably going to be the only way we can see it. Not the actual ride itself, but the line before you actually enter. So we'll have to see what happens there. So the Fern Canyon leads you to the base of Bear Canyon. Now, to my left, I'm guessing this is going to be a staging area. And if this is a staging area, that means the bus tour will not be going down Bear Canyon, which also means it won't be going through Africa Rocks either, which I'm okay with. Africa Rocks was built in a way that was meant to be a walkthrough. It's not meant to be viewed from the bus. You get a lot of cool behind-the-scenes stuff from the bus if you like that sort of thing, but definitely a walkthrough experience, not something that I would recommend taking the bus for, because you don't really get to see anything new. Now, from this staging area, and why I'm pretty sure it's going to be a staging area, you can kind of see the back half of the habitat here. Those are some of the live trees in there. And even though this is an accessible path for guests to walk through, it's mainly a bus route. So you're really supposed to go through Sun Bear Forest, which is on the other side of this. And if you want a great tour of Sun Bear Forest, go watch Zoo Tours' video right here, because he did an amazing job covering it. He did cover Bear Canyon as well, but Sun Bear Forest is the hidden gem here, so I had to shout that out. But basically everything you see behind me is going to be a construction staging area. In fact, I'm kind of hoping this isn't the staging area, even though I'm fully expecting it to, because this is the entire orangutan habitat on the top of the hillside here. So this would probably be the best vantage point to view it. There's just no place for them really to stage any equipment unless they close off the path up top, which is a possibility. They'll just reroute people through the upper level of monkey trails rather than the center part of Lost Forest that gets you to the bridge immediately. So again, we're about a year away from this possibly happening, and I hope this kind of helps explain what the process could be and how long it could possibly take, because it depends on the decisions. Ultimately, we're still in the blue sky phase where ideas have been thrown around. We know the project's happening, so it's definitely progressed beyond that point, but at the same time, there are still a lot of things to work out. And ultimately, a lot of the big ideas that the visionaries may have for a project like this are going to get whittled down to a point where it's a little more realistic. Elephant Valley was that way, Tiger Trail was that way, even Africa Rocks. There is a very infamous thing that never arrived with Africa Rocks that I wish did, in the form of the nocturnal house. So that's really gonna do it for the orangutan project conversation. There's not a lot of details out there right now. We do know a little bit of a premise of what this could be and kind of a concept, but not anything definitive. That all is still being decided. It's still being worked out as far as bringing the vision to life. We know what they're going to do. So that is important. It's probably the most important part. We know what they're going to do. But ultimately, how they do it and how they execute it is going to be a completely different conversation and something we'll find out as time goes on. And that's about it for today. A lot of really cool things to talk about as it pertains to what we can expect from the newest project that should be starting within the year. And on top of that, some exciting stuff going on here with the channel as we have a very fun September to look forward to. And definitely tune in for those announcements both on my Instagram page and here, because you do not want to miss those. That's going to do it for today. If you had fun on this adventure, please hit the like button. And if you would like to embark on future adventures, please consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell. And until next time, I hope to see you all again on the next adventure on RJB Wildlife.